What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2024 and welcome to another edition of Dangle Bet Celly live on our FTN Network YouTube page. You're listening on iTunes and Spotify. We appreciate you guys. Smash the like button, rate, review, subscribe. Any comments, any questions, you can leave them in the YouTube section, in the comment section. Fantasy hockey question, a betting question, life general question. Anything you want, you can reach out at the Eric Young on X, at Chris Meaney on X. I just saw Team Canada let in a goal with 11 seconds left. They're done. I'm not surprised. I didn't want to be like
me neither
when it came to this team, but I didn't think that they had the firepower. Didn't have a lot of returnees from last year, and I didn't think that they would get by. I thought that they caught a break with Czechia. I thought if it was like the States or Slovakia, they were going to get bounced. Slovakia did get bounced this morning by Finland, but I think it's Sweden has been very impressive, not allowing any rubber, any goals, and then Team USA, man, they got some players in that squad too. So Team Canada is out. It looks like you're rocking a Team USA jersey, but I believe it's just the Rangers. Are you rocking Rangers there? What do you got?
Yeah, okay. Got Jacob Trouba here.
Jacob Trouba.
Oh man, I love him. He's one of the only guys that hits anymore, and I love it.
Yeah,
and sometimes it's on the edge, and well, that's just tough cookies for everyone else. Still a full contact league, and will continue to be. Right. And I'll buy Jacob Trouba jerseys because I like them.
I dig it, man. I like it too. Like, yeah, he does cross the edge sometimes, but he is one of the only few players that really, you got to keep your head up, man. The trolley tracks, you're gonna get yourself punished. Jacob Trouba's on the ice, yeah.
And most of the time, it's clean, right? Like it's within.
Oh yeah, he's just he's a big body. You know what I mean?
Like hits hard. I mean, Severity or whatever from Team Canada. You got the. Penalty game misconduct for knocking the German player down. That's, come on, guys. I get it's international hockey. It's not called the same, but I know that hitting is still allowed, and there was nothing dirty about it. The guy just got leveled. It's not a penalty, and it's certainly not a game misconduct. But here we are.
He just got rocked. Here we are. Trouba's one of the best too, as you know, in bangers leagues. I mean, this guy's a top 10 defensemen in leagues of hits and blocks.
You know who's the best? Jeremy Lauzon from the Preds. Leads the league in hits. That's rare for a defenseman to lead the league in hits, right? Like they don't have as much opportunity to do it. But he's leading the league in hits.
He's in the banger section of the fantasy hockey article I read every Sunday. I just kind of keep it. I update it, obviously, with some hot pickups, but players considered to drop. Pick up, buy low, sell high in bangers leagues. I just leave them there. I adjust a couple players, but I just leave them there. And I think most people now that are playing in bangers leagues, they're well aware that he is a valuable asset. Like if you look,
you're down 5-10 hits going into Friday, you pick up Lauzon, he plays a game or two, and he could put you over the top.
He's like a top 15 fantasy hockey defenseman in those formats. I was looking at the overall ranks to date, and he's up near the top. I mean, it's pretty valuable to have a player like that. If you have some other guys that are scoring some points for you, you pick up some hits and some blocks and things like that. So, all right, we're on our way. We have 13 games to get after. Of course, just a busy Tuesday. It's going to be a busy Thursday, so we're gonna get right after it. Hope everybody had a fantastic New Year. Happy New Year. Adam Szymanski, Marchese in the house. Happy New Year's, everybody. Yes, Canada just got bounced. Oh, my goodness. No good. Troy's in the house here. Do we have any other checks in the chat? Let's go, boys. Canada, bye-bye. See you later. I just checked beat Canada last year in the group stage. They're loaded with talent. They are. I mean, as we get further on in hockey development, there's just a lot of good teams. Like in the years that I grew up watching it, it was almost like, not that it wasn't entertaining, but you just knew it was Canada.
Like, it was going
to be Canada. Yeah. Canada was going to play the States, or there's going to be like a team like Finland or Sweden that we're going to surprise. But over the years, Finland, Czechia, Slovakia, I think is fantastic. I know they got bounced, but a lot of really nice young players there in the World Junior Tournament. Daily Handle, Jordan Hallen. Good morning, Means, EY, and everyone. Happy New Year. All the best. Happy holidays.
Happy New Year to everybody. First show of 2024.
Do you have over 100 jerseys? Let's set the line at 30.
I don't think so.
Not over 30?
No. Oh, geez. I'm going to say I'm thinking probably right around 30.
Right around 30?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. There's a lot, a lot of skilled players. Brzis in the house, 91. Happy New Year. Everyone is really surprised Canada just lost. Tough loss, man. Again, I'm not super surprised. I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked. I thought they were like the third or fourth best team heading in, but they are bounced early. Let's get after tonight. A lot of games to talk about. The article is free over at ftnbets.com. A few picks in there as well. ftndaily.com. You're looking for some DFS advice. ftnfantasy.com for some updated fantasy hockey rankings. I went through them over the break. Adjusted all the rankings: goalies, defensemen, forwards, left, right, center. And we did give away a jersey. And we want to shout out the winner again from last week, Robert Rattleman. I think I said Battleman. I was on the bats, obviously. Congrats, Ryan. And jersey's already ordered, and keep an eye on it. His choice, by the way, Sasha Barkov. Not a bad choice.
Good choice.
Great choice. And then also want to hook you up with an FTN betting package. Also to Patrick Madigan, if you don't already have an FTN bets package. Hit me up, meanstreetsftn@gmail.com or at Chris Meaney on the X machine, and Mario as well. Elia, if you're just listening, catching up here over the past few days, we've been away. Hit me up because I'm going to get you an FTN betting package. All picks across all sports. Like, dudes, this one guy's got almost 200 units in college basketball already. Like, over 100 units already in college basketball. The season just started like 6-7 weeks ago. Shout out to Kutri. All the NFL picks we're rolling. We're flirting with 40 units over at ftnbets.com for myself. And then we have projections tools, Discord channel. It's all there for you. You can save yourself a little bit of cash with FTN wins. So let's get going here. And we got one board here with all the games. Check out the prop shop and the parlay calculator for the best possible odds here. We'll let you take this one away first. Let's start here up at the top left with the Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes. We have New York at home at -115 and the Hurricanes at +102 if you want to back them over at Bet Rivers. And the total here is at 6. I really like what I've seen from Svechnikov lately, right? He started to get going, and then he missed a couple games. He's back in the lineup, started to get going. He had the hat trick against the Habs there the other day. I like him. Aho is always great. Like, Sebastian Aho is always great. But sometimes he's playing with, like, Noah Sin and Seth Jarvis. I just like him when he's with Svechnikov. Like, it's just feel like those two guys should play together at 5-5. I'm seeing that right now. The Hurricanes may shuffle their lines 4 more times before the game gets going. But those are the two guys I like in the Carolina side. And I actually like the Hurricanes to go in and steal a victory here. Kochkov's been pretty solid in that. What do you like?
Yeah, boxed on the Carolina side, Aho and Svechnikov. Svechnikov is one of those guys that we see this all the time where they score and then they just come in bunches. It's not like uncommon. It's probably more common that we see it this way. And when a guy's scoring and he's scoring regularly, it's a good idea to bet on him. The best part for me for Svechnikov being, really probably the top goal scorer for them. I don't think the numbers are there because of the injuries and stuff this year, but he's the guy, right? They're the guy. He's the guy that they want shooting the puck. They want the puck on his stick. They want him the one taking the one-timers on the power play. And he's at +240 at FanDuel. So sign me up for that. The New York side, I'm going Panarin and Kreider.
Yeah, man, Panarin, man, he just keeps lighting it up.
He's so good. He might be maybe, and I know like everyone rates him highly, but I mean, he might be one of, if not the most underrated player. Like, he's a superstar player. Something good happens when he has the puck almost 100% of the time. And there's only a few guys in the league where you can say that.
He's it's all about the playoffs for him, right? I mean, Rangers fans have heard this before with Panarin. He didn't really show up last year in the first round against the Devils. He was very quiet. I don't even know if he had a point. He may have had a point or two, but that's it. He's got 50 points here on the season. Kucherov was 61. Leads the NHL with Nate at 58, and then Panarin and Pastrnak both have 50. How about JT Miller and William Nylander? Both have 48 points. We've seen this from JT Miller before, not so much from Willie. borderline top 5 scorer at the moment. McDavid also tied there with 48 points. But yeah, back to Svechnikov for a second. Just really hard to ignore what he's up to right now. Since his return to the lineup, he's played 6 games. He's got a point in every one of those games but one. He's riding a 4-game point streak heading into tonight, and he's got at least 2 points in all 4 of those games. He's got 4 goals and 9 points in those 4 hockey games. So, and he's also shooting. It's kind of what he does. He's got back-to-back games for 3 shots. Yeah, if we're going to pick goal scorers here, we want shoot first goal scorer. We want shoot first guys, not pass first guys. And Sveshnikov's not afraid to shoot the puck. He's minus 125 over at Bet Rivers for 3 shots like that. But I'm going to drink a little bit of the juice. I'm not sure if there's a better price out here right now. It's only showing minus 145 for a point tonight for Sveshnikov. That's from DraftKings. So I'm sure that'll pop up a little bit later on in the day. But I do like Svesh. If I was to pick a goal scorer on the other side, it would be Mika Zibanejad or Kreider, one of those 2 guys. I'd probably stay away from a lot in this game because, like we said, Kochekov, he's been really good, man, and he may just be a game changer for a lot of fantasy hockey players.
Could be the savior.
Yeah, it could be the savior for the Canes. Could be the savior for your fantasy hockey squad. There's half the teams in the league I think are just dying for a save. And right now, he has come in, and he, apart from the Islanders game, he let up 5. He's been pretty solid, man. 2 to the Leafs in a victory, 2 to your Preds in a victory. Only 1 against the Pens. They didn't give him any run support. They lost 2-1. He stopped 30 of 33 against the Golden Knights. Again, another loss where his team only scored 1 goal for him. He allowed 2 goals. And then he had the back-to-back games against the Sens and the Red Wings where he only allowed 1 goal each. So his ownership is now above 60% for the first time of the year. And he may be able to keep this thing pretty tight, low scoring. I like the Hurricanes to kind of edge one out here. All right, Boston and Columbus. Troy's Blue Jackets. Are we feeling an upset for Troy tonight? Go ahead, EY. Take it away. What you got?
I mean, it's Hawking. At this point, this season's been madness. Nothing would surprise me. I still think Boston wins here. Obviously, they've come a little bit down to earth from where they were. But this still is really a really, really good team. It's negative odds, but I'm going Pasternak to score at negative 120 and Marchand to get on the board tonight on the goal side, 135. Columbus, I'm going back to Marashenko. The number one reason is, this guy, he's a goal scorer. It's what he does. It's what he did before he got to the NHL. It's what he's done in Columbus before people were even talking about him or even knew what his name was. Obviously me, you, and Troy knew who he was, but that might be the end of the list. Marashenko at plus 230. Yes, please. And I got a gut feeling about Adam Fantilli. He just fits, man, and he looks so good and so confident. What a player!
What a beautiful goal the other night against your Leafs. They just come in with a ton of speed and what a wicked release.
He's got every tool, right? And the number one thing for me on FanDuel, he's plus 290. So I'm going Marashenko and Fantilli to score on the Columbus side.
Nice. Troy says, no upset tonight, but take the under. Columbus has tightened things up recently. He also talks about a shocking statistic. Johnny Gaudreau, 5th in the NHL in completed slot passes in the last calendar year, to put it nicely. Boone Jenner is the only player taking advantage of that skill. Johnny Hockey's been about even money for a point. Keep an eye on him. I don't love him tonight because of the matchup, but he is undervalued in the betting market, and I'm sure, Troy, you've seen his game lately. He's been picking up some points here and there. There are 2 Bruins players that I like tonight for just points, and 2 guys I want to bring to your attention at the moment. Charlie Coyle and Pavel Zacha were in the breakout column of the Fantasy Hockey Draft Kit article. Zach has been quiet lately, but Coyle's on a bit of a heater right now. His point prop is minus 120 over at DraftKings. And over the last 4 games, been pretty solid. He's got a 4-game point streak. He's got 3 goals and 5 points over that span. And we know the loss of Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci has opened up an opportunity for, Coyle and Zacha, for at least more playing time and usage rate. Coyle's averaging a career high 17.52. He's got 13 goals, just 3 behind what he had last year. He's 5 points away from We're 5 goals away from matching his career high in 2016 with the Wild. And the matchup with the Blue Jackets, they have tightened things up lately, Troy. You're right. They're not up at the top in terms of goals allowed at 5 and 5 per 60, according to Natural Stat Trick. But over the last month, December 2nd, they do have a league high 3.12 expected goals against at 5 and 5 per 60. They're also inside the top 5 in shot attempts, shots, scoring chances, and high danger chances allowed over that span. So I like the look of this new line in DFS. Played them the other day. I was hoping for a little bit more selfishly, but they were pretty solid. Brad Marchand on that line, and Jake DeBrusk and Coyle. So Coyle's minus 120 for a point. Jake DeBrusk is minus 110 for a point, and DeBrusk is plus 110 for 3 shots. So I'm taking a look at that second line. I like Pasta. Probably has 5 or 6 shots and a goal as well. I'm not saying that he's not going to have a good night, but I'm looking at that second line, maybe in DFS, or just taking advantage of Coyle and DeBrusk props that Marchand is playing on that line. So we're going to roll with those two guys. They're also in the article, at least Charlie Coyle. I led the way with Charlie Coyle. I think I had a little bit of a misprint there. I think I said he was 5 points away from a career high. He's 5 goals away from a career high 18 in his early days in Minnesota, but playing a career high right now for the Boston Bruins. And Swayman's starting to take control of that net too. I know they've been going back and forth, but Swayman's numbers have been much, much better over the past month as opposed to Linus Ullmark. All right, Pittsburgh and Washington here. Next up, we have the Caps at home, or the Pens, at home. They're checking in at minus 175, so pretty big home favorites here. And the Capitals at plus 150. Man, I look at this Capitals team, and I just don't when I look at their team on paper, I just don't understand how they hang around in hockey games. Like they're basically a one-line team, not getting a whole lot from that one line. Anthony Mantha's been pretty good lately. I don't know if he's on your radar as like a sneaky little anytime goal scorer. I've noticed that he's been bumped up the lineup, a little bit more ice time. He went on a 4 or 5 game goal streak a couple weeks ago. Ricard Raquel is the one guy I want to throw out here. Ricard Raquel, we've been riding him over the past couple weeks for an anytime point, for an anytime goal, for a shot. So those are kind of the 2 players that I have on my radar here tonight. But I do expect the Pens to win the hockey game. I just never feel comfortable laying that kind of juice. Minus 175 for Pens. I don't know. I maybe just take them on the puck line and hope that it's like a 3-1, 4-2 type of game. You got some goal scorers?
Yeah, I actually do have Anthony Mantha, because like you said, he playing on that second line, and he's looked pretty good, man. Like, he's a frustrating player, like a guy that came in the league where he's playing in Detroit. You think he's going to turn into this big time player for them, man, big body, can skate, can shoot, can do everything. Just kind of disappears. Then he goes over to Washington when they're still, in the fight, and Ovi's lighting the lamp, and you're thinking, okay, new surroundings. And when he first got there, he was pretty good, and then basically halfway through the year, last year, disappears. Start of the year, he's not even existent, right? Like, he's playing, but I mean, like, just invisible. Like a lot of the Washington Capitals are, but he seems to be coming on, and I think this is a contract year for him. We've talked about this plenty. He's well aware of it. I think the Washington Capitals, if they were smart, some of these players that they don't think are going to be around for the future, for the rebuild on the go, or whatever you want to call it, right? Trade him. And it really could be what this is. It's the start of the showcase of Anthony Mantha. So they can say, hey, man, this guy's still got it, and he could be a good player for you, and we're willing to talk and whatever. But, yeah, I got Anthony Mantha tonight. I'm going back to Ovi, and, I mean, the number one reason is he's plus 190. Can you remember that?
Ever? No.
Ever.
No.
So I'm going to bet on him to score, and, again, it goes back to scoring. Like, he's starting to score now.
Yeah. It's getting some puck luck now, and he's putting some pucks towards the goal. Like, some of them, I don't know, missing the net or not getting shots. There was like a good 3-week stretch where he wasn't even shooting. It's like, wow. But he's shooting again. Like you said, he scored in his last game. He's got 2 goals over his last 5 games. He's got a couple games at 6, 7, 5 shots. Like, that's Ovi. That's what we're used to seeing. He played 22 minutes the other night against your Preds. So that's
he would have had 2 in that game. One got called back, and the one he scored, like, Askarov is considered one of the best.
What do you think about him so far? You've seen him probably more than anybody else. What do you?
I think he's young. Yeah, he's unpredictable, and he really likes to play the puck, and I think he's pretty good at it. But there can be some pretty nerve-wracking situations. And again, for goalie, I mean, I don't know anything about goaltending. I know that it's impossible. It's hard to predict. And the truth is watching him, like, there's times where he makes a save where he has to come all the way across, and he makes it look effortless. It does remind me of Carey Price, where, like, there's no big movements because he's always in the right position. Like, it's not flashy, but he's making these saves that aren't routine look routine. And then again, I mean, there's no shame in Ovi blasting one on the power play from his spot past him.
No.
Right. But I mean, he misread it completely. Like, he thought it was going to the other side of the net, and it's in really the Ovechkin thing, shooting from there, scoring the amount of goals he's scored in today's NHL. It may be the most dominant thing that's happened in sports in the last decade. I'm a hockey biased person because I love it, but it's nuts. It's in 50 years from now, people are going to be talking about what he would do and how dominant he was. Everyone knows what's happening.
I know.
Every single person.
I know.
And he doesn't move. He plays the entire power play. And man, he's out there 2 minutes, and like, well, he doesn't move. He's not out of breath. He's literally just standing there.
Yeah.
Standing still. I mean, it's a nightmare for a coach, nightmare for anybody, but he's still getting it done. I still believe he's not going to catch Gretzky. But anyways, I think he scores again tonight. So
one more,
plus it's 190, and I like to live history.
It'll be one closer to Gretzky after tonight. I think I've said this before on the show. I've seen him live a couple times, and Deanna saw him with me. We were in Washington for St. Patty's Day, and he just didn't move on like a full 2-minute power play. It was a 5-on-3, and he didn't. It's just like it looked like you're playing really PlayStation, your controller's dead,
right?
Yeah.
Like in today's NHL, it's a really good way of not making a team and not being on the power play, and having your coach yell at you for being lazy and not moving and becoming available. Everyone else moves, and he just stands there, and it's kind of surreal.
As for Mantha, 7 games in October, he had 2 points. He only averaged 12 minutes per game. In December, he averaged just over 14 minutes per game. He had 6 goals and 9 points through 14 December games. So he is playing his best hockey of the season at the moment right now. I don't mind that call at all. And then as for Rickard Rakell, we've talked about him quite a bit on this show, but he's got points in 4 of his last 5 games. He got 2 goals over that span and 5 points. I mean, he's jumped up on that top line, right? He played the first game back. He played 14 minutes. The last few, 2019, 18, 19, and 19. He's with Gensel. He's with Crosby. And he's probably going to play on that line until Brian Rust is ready to go. And heck, he may even stay on that line. I do agree with the guys. Rakell's shots, he's been shooting like crazy. I did have him the last 2 games for over 2.5 shots, and he was stuck on 1, but the attempts were there. He's only cleared the 2.5 shots in 2 of those 6 games that he's been back, but the attempts have been there. So I don't mind that, but I like the point. It's probably one of my favorite bets tonight. I'm just going to continue to ride this thing out with him. He's minus 115 over at DraftKings and BetMGM for a point. And he is still really good, like plus 290 is really good for a guy that plays with Sidney Crosby. You know what I mean? And is a 4 or 5 time 30 goal scorer. And the matchup is decent. And the ice time and the usage is there. So Rickard Rakell, we're going to go right back to double R here. Nashville and Chicago. We got the Preds here at home, heavy favorites. The Blackhawks got just spanked the other night against the Dallas Stars, gave up an 8 spot. We have Nashville minus 265 now. DraftKings get the Hawks at plus 220 tonight. looking for a sneaky goal scorer. I don't know if he's that sneaky, but I know you've talked about him a lot. I've talked about him a few times. It's just Nyquist. Gustav Nyquist playing with Forsberg and playing with Ryan O'Reilly. He has been so good. It's kind of like the Detroit days of Nyquist. He's getting an opportunity. He's bounced around to a couple different teams, but I don't think he's gotten a legitimate opportunity to play with like good players on a top line and a first power play. And that's what's happening right now. Ryan O'Reilly's been a great get for your Preds. We know that Forsberg is elite. So I like Nyquist. There's a little bit of juice on him for a point I have in the tracker. I think it was minus 140. It does feel a little weird to go like minus 140 for a guy like Nyquist, but he's been good. Like you said, he's plus 310 for a power play point. He's plus 250 for a goal. Like those pretty good odds. He's playing in all situations, power play, shorthanded, 5-5 with the big boys. So he's kind of my guy tonight.
Yeah, playing a ton, and he's been really great. Maybe their most consistent player. Ryan O'Reilly is a guy that I've always liked, but I don't know now if it's. I appreciate it more because he's playing on the Preds, and I'm watching him. Every time they play, he's
little
slow.
Things.
Like he's slow, but just
he's slow, yeah.
His ability to make plays in these tight spaces and hold people off, and it's beautiful, man. I advise you, if you get a chance to watch, just try to watch him. I mean, like, look at the reality is he's slow. He's very slow, and it doesn't matter. Like it just doesn't. It doesn't matter.
Because he's smart
player, so smart. Yeah. And like I said, to me right now, the thing that I've heard that people talk about it, but I haven't really watched it as closely as I has been this year, and that's his ability to make plays quickly in small areas. Like everyone can skate in the NHL now, and everyone is fast. So that ability just stands out even more, because even though his foot speed is almost non-existent on an NHL level, he's still able to play with quick, skilled players in the most important times. It's really cool to watch. All that being said, I don't have him to score tonight. I do have Forsberg at plus 120 and Tommy Novak. And this will sound biased, and I don't care. Is Tommy Novak is the most underpaid player in the NHL.
Come on, I guess he probably makes under $1 million.
I think he makes 800,000, and he's
on the minimum salary.
He's unbelievable. Please watch the Predators game tonight and watch 82 when he's on the ice.
He does usually catch my eye. Yeah, he does some nice things out there.
$800,000.
It's a steal.
It's
a steal.
Awesome. It's awesome. And if you were to make a team like most underpaid players, he's on the top.
He'd be
line.
On the squad.
What's that? The guy from Arizona, Carsoni or whatever. I think the Steve Dangle guys, he just keeps scoring goals.
He scores,
and he's made a total of like $920,000 in the NHL. This is I think this is his second year or third year.
It's amazing. His shooting percentage is off the charts, but you're right. The guys are right. You're right too. He does score every time I watch the Coyotes or I check the box score. I'm like, wow, he scored again here tonight. Yep. Wow. Yep. As for Nyquist, he checks in riding a 5-game point streak. He's got 4 goals over that span, and he had 3 points against his former squad, the Detroit Red Wings, the other night. So yeah, just a significant boost in ice time. It took a little bit. It's not like Anthony Mantha type level jumpness. But if you look overall, like 17 minutes per game is what he's averaging this year, 14 last year. Look at some of the splits. Yeah, he started off with 4 points in 9 games as a Pred, playing 15 minutes a game. Now 18 minutes a game in December. He's got 5 goals and 11 points in 15 games. And November, he did the same thing. He had 12 points through 13 games. So he's been just under a point per game guy roughly over the last 28 to 30 games for the Nashville Predators. So he's playing really good. Even the assist is plus 125, which is pretty good value if you don't want to take that juice on minus 140. I don't mind it. I'm taking it. I would say Forsberg scores, but it's pretty good value for a guy as well. Even for the power play point, EY, like plus 310. He's got 2 power play points over his last 4 games. And the goal is at plus 250 there. I got nothing on the Chicago side of things. They're just too brutal, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Bedard's living up to expectations. Like, he's going to actually probably surpass them if he gets into the mid 70s and 30 plus goals.
This team is awful.
Yeah,
I mean, they're awful, and they should be. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, this is exactly what they should be. And the truth is, they've already won too many games. This is the truth. But
it's like Brzez's tank Hawks tank.
He's unbelievable. The other guy I got to score tonight, just because, I mean, it's literally like close your eyes and point, but Gutman is playing on the second line and is playing on the top power play. And anybody that plays with Bedard could score.
We did a Ryan Donato first goal like last week, and it worked out just because he was playing with Bedard.
He's like plus 5.
Yeah. Donato was 20-1. I'm like, it's against the Habs. We'll give it a go. And he scored. John Prince in the house. Meaney and the Madman. Happy New Year's, guys. Cheers to the best do in the business. Salute. We appreciate you, John. Happy New Year to you and your family. Good luck tonight on the ice. Maybe Celebrini, Brzez. Maybe you'll get Celebrini first overall, right? Another young buck to add to the, I guess, the small pool of prospects that the Chicago Blackhawks have. What's next here? Enough. Winnipeg
getting all the good players.
I know. Come on, man. I think the Habs to go on like a 24-game losing streak here. Get Tampa and Washington, or Winnipeg rather. The Jets, the Jets are playing great. They're playing great hockey. They had the sweep over the weekend, the matinee sweep.
I was blind to this. Right?
Like Jets? Me too. I wasn't completely buying. I mean, what they're doing it without Kyle Connor too over the past couple weeks. Hellebuck we knew was great. Check. Like, he's just solid. He gets a majority of the starts. He's
but hasn't been good in 2 years.
But has been he's definitely, the consistency hasn't been there for him. Yeah. It's like one good year, off year, and then good couple weeks, off couple weeks. But for the most part, I mean, he's been rock solid. I think he's the number one goalie in fantasy hockey. He's right there with Cam Talbot and Connor Ingram, by the way. Like, how about that? Connor Ingram and Cam Talbot, two of the top 3 fantasy hockey goalies as we head into January. It's bonkers. Kyle Connor's been great, but they've been without him for a little bit. I think that, like, Gabe Velarde's one thing we've talked about him over the past couple weeks. Nino Niederreiter's been really good for them. Cole Perfetti's been really good for them. Lowry getting the C this year has been really, really just a strong two-way player. Fighting
that line, him, Appleton, and Niederreiter has been awesome.
This is really tough to play against. Like, those are all 3 guys that finish checks. They're in on the forecheck. They just do all those little things that kind of matter for like a second, third line and the difference. So they went into they played the matinee home and home against the Wild. I know the Wild were without Zuccarello and Kaprizov for the second game, but they won both of those games. Tampa, man, I'm just not super impressed. Even they beat the Habs the other day, I still wasn't impressed with them. I think they had like 4 shots in the first. They were getting outchanced. Kucherov took over the game late to get them into it, but I think there was a weird call in the game. Did you see how the Habs scored their second goal? It's the craziest thing I've ever seen in an NHL game. I don't know if anybody else saw this. So Tampa shot the puck in the slot. It was 5-on-5, shot the puck. Montembeault made the save, and then it looked like he was going to cover it. He held it for like 2 or 3 seconds. The Tampa players turned away from the goal and started skating back towards the bench. They started skating back towards the bench. The lights came on, the spotlights came on in Tampa Bay like it was going to be a whistle. The ref didn't blow the whistle. He had the whistle in his mouth. He didn't blow it. And he went like this, like move the puck. Montembeault dropped the puck to, I forget the Habs player now. It doesn't matter. He took the puck from Montembeault and noticed that Tampa's goalie, Johansson, was just doing what goalies do when the whistles blow and he's just skating. He was in the corner. Kosevic for Montreal. He shot the puck from his own goal line, put in the net. He scored. Everyone thought that the whistle was gone besides Montembeault and Kovacevic. He just shot it.
I'm going to have to look it up.
Kucherov's on the bench. Kucherov's on the bench. Like, what the heck happened here? Like, there was no whistle. On? They went upstairs. They didn't blow the whistle. It was just completely odd. It was so strange. I don't know why they went upstairs. Like, maybe they went upstairs to think like, hey, maybe the whistle went. Like, let's just see if somebody blew the whistle. Anyways, there's no whistle. The fans are booing in Tampa. It's the loudest I've heard them in like 5 years, including back-to-back years when they won the Cup. They were booing for about 5 to 8 minutes nonstop. It seemed that put Montreal up, I think, 2-0 or 2-1. It just got everybody in Tampa fired up, and they went on to win the game, come back. But man, the weirdest thing I've ever seen in an NHL game just looked like there was a whistle. Everybody stopped playing, and Mutombo dropped it, and Buddy scored 200 feet down the ice. And Johansson's in the corner, like, what the heck's going on here? Spotlights on the ice. Anyways, Tampa, I just feel like really inconsistent. They're interesting because they're plus money on the road. Like, anytime you can get a team like that, plus money on the road, plus 115. But I really like where the Jets are playing hockey right now. A couple things. Been going back to Velarde, picking for a point for 3 shots. I know he's been quiet the past couple of games, been really good to us for the most part since he's returned to the lineup. And then Anthony Cirelli jumped up on that top line halfway through that game with Kucherov and Stamkos. He did pick up a point. He's been very, very quiet. Kucherov does lead the NHL in points, as we talked about. So that's why I'm going to try to piggyback off of this. He's plus 125 for a point. He's plus 250 for an assist. He's minus 135 for 2 shots, and I don't love it. And he's also 4-1 for a goal. Like this, he's getting an opportunity here tonight. He's going to play with Kucherov, can play with Stamkos. So Cirelli and Gabe Velarde, those are my 2 guys.
Yeah, I'm going Kucherov and Braden Point. Really nice to see him play top 6 minutes, play on the top power play. Like, we've been talking about this guy being this player for, it feels like 5 years. And if what it took is to trade Blake Wheeler away, they should have done it 5 years ago. Wheeler's is awesome and has just never had the ice time or the opportunity. And now he's getting it and he's repaying them. And he's just a really fun guy to watch. I'm excited for Kyle Connor to come back so I can bet on him to score every single night because he's the best. And I love him. This is a Kyle Connor show. But I got Ehlers and I've got Iafallo. He's been shooting and has always been a pretty consistent player, even all these years in LA. He's playing on the second line and playing the right wing on the top power play. I love that, right? Like I just love the opportunity there. And what I love the most is he's plus 270.
I like that too. Adam's in the house. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I mean, it's a strange question. I know that Joe just won it. I mean, to be honest, I don't watch it, so I don't know. I hope nobody beats Joe because he's a very good friend of mine and he's the best.
I saw The Rock last night on social media, smelling what The Rock is cooking. I don't know. I don't follow too much, as you know, but I don't feel like he's been in the ring too often over the last few years.
Yeah, no, he's he's a megastar, right? He's at one point he did the same thing that I do for a living, and at this point he's the most recognizable human being on the planet. So it's pretty wild.
It is pretty wild.
And we don't know each other personally or anything like that. We've met several times, but if I was to tweet him right now, within 4 or 5 days, he would respond, which is
nice.
Wild. Yeah, it's wild.
See if we can get an anytime goal out of him.
Yeah, who do you got tonight, Rock? Who do you got between Florida and Arizona?
Let's go to Dallas. Let's go to Dallas. I'm sure he'd say he likes Rupe Hintz. We get the Stars at home at minus 298. We have the Habs checking in at plus 255. No surprise for me. You guys know I'm a sucker when it comes to the Dallas Stars, and I do watch the Habs firsthand. I'm seeing this team fall apart right in front of my eyes over the past couple weeks. Like, it's just really a one-line team. We've seen a little bit from Josh Anderson. He is playing really good hockey lately, and Monahan's great. Those two guys have had a little bit of chemistry. But I really like the Stars team, obviously. But lately they've been playing really good too, right? And Hintz as well. 4 goals in his last 2 games. He's got 8 points over a current 6-game point streak. He's got at least 3 shots on goal in each of his last 3 games and 4 of his last 5. The Stars have scored 13 goals in their last 2 games. I know it was against the Blackhawks in back-to-back games, but they've won 7 of their past 9. They scored at least 4 goals in 6 of those wins as well. And Hintz is an impressive 10 goals and 19 points in 16 home games. I mean, he does have 14 points in 17 road games, Those are good numbers as well, but a touch better at home. He's averaging nearly 18 minutes at home compared to 16 on the road. The Habs have lost 3 straight. They're on a big road trip here. That's like a span of 2.5 weeks. And, the break, they had a bit of a break, of course, over the holiday break, but they're still on the road. It's just like a road trip they do every year around this time of the year, and it just doesn't work out for them all that well. They've been outscored 13-7 over the last 3 games. They lost 4 straight games in Dallas. They've allowed 17 goals in those losses. In fact, they haven't won in Dallas since 2017. So, man, there's a lot that I like here. I'm going to start with Hintz for 3 shots. I like Hintz to score. I see plus 175 at FanDuel. There's some juice here at the minus 166 for a point, but I think he's hitting the score sheet. I got Pavelski for assist at plus 125. I'm riding the Stars puck line. It's a 2-unit play for me, minus 110 over at BetMGM. I like Matthew Shane for a point, minus 150. I like Sagan for a point, minus 120. And I have a couple fun same game parlays in the free article over at ftmbets.com. A link inside the description of this video as well. Hintz, Pavelski, Robertson for a point. It's been working out for us. It's plus 190. Those guys all for 2 points at 22-1. And then we just saw Marchment. We've been talking a lot about Duchesne all year long and how he's been great, basically a point per game guy. But Marchment, I think we've talked about him a couple times, EY. Like he was decent in Florida in that final year.
Yep.
Last year, not so much. But this line has turned into what was a third line for them is their second line. And it's probably been their most consistent line all year long, where Wyatt Johnson and Jamie Benn have been quiet, but Marchment, Sagan, and Duchesne have been very noticeable to me. Marchment had a hat trick the other night. So I got all 3 of those guys for a point. Solo props or together on 365 is plus 375. So I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit down in the Habs here, but I think we'll see a Dallas 5-2 win.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what goes on in this game. The Duchesne sliding it, like what a grab by Dallas.
It's exactly what they needed.
I mean, exactly what they needed. I think they're paying them $3 million, 2.5, whatever it is. It's a steal, obviously. Still a really, really good player. Was a really good player in Nashville. They're just in this rebuild, and they wanted to have young kids, and off he went. So I got him to score tonight at plus 210, and Robertson at 160. Duchesne's not playing on the top power play, but they do divide the time up pretty evenly among those 2 units. And like you said, that second line has been really good. Like Duchesne's maybe one of their most consistent players all year. And,
for sure.
He's just so good with the puck and holding on to the puck and waiting for guys to get open. He's just such a slick player to watch. On the Montreal side, I'm going Caulfield at 180. And I'm just going back to Monahan again. He's obviously plays down the lineup, but plays on that top power play. And when they go, Monahan has been really good for them on the power play. And my favorite part about Monahan is he's plus 310.
And it's not Ottinger. I know he's close. Ottinger's been kind of hot and cold too. And Wedgwood has piled up some wins for them, but he's given up some goals as well. I like the call. Monahan's been playing really good. Somebody asked me the other day about Sean Monahan. Should the Habs keep him or whatnot? And I was like, yeah, why not? You got to keep some veteran players on the squad. Like, you can't just have all these young guys. You got to have some leaders there and help develop the squad. And, he's liked in the locker room. He likes to be there. So why don't you keep him? But at the same time, I think we said this last year before he suffered an injury. He would be a really good get for a lot of playoff teams to be a third line center, a playoff experience, to kill penalties on that power play, as you alluded to. He's on that first unit. He's been on it all year long. He'd be a good get for a lot of squads, and the Habs may be able to get a second round pick, a high second or an early third or something like that for him. So anyways, we'll see what happens there with the Habs. Calgary and Minnesota in here next. We have the Wild, as we mentioned earlier. They are a little shorthanded up front. No Kirill Kaprizov and no Matt Zuccarello. I think Matt Zuccarello is a drop. I think you can move on from him. Minus 107 for Meaney and minus 105 for Calgary. So the odds have changed here a little bit. We see some money coming in on the Flames, and I don't disagree with what we've seen, I guess, from I don't really put my hard-earned bucks on Calgary. I don't think I've bet on them all year. But I do like them in this spot. because of the Wild being so shorthanded. Even Gustafson's hurt between the pipes too. So they're a little shorthanded. I got Kadri for a point. He's minus 130 for a point. I think he's got goals in back-to-back games. It hasn't been a great season for him or a lot of Flames here this year, but he does have points in 4 of his last 5. In fact, you can go back to December 5th. He had a 5-game point streak, so he's got points in 9 of his last 12 games. So I'm going to ride with Kadri. And if I'm going to pick anybody on Minnesota side, it's, man, ever since the coaching changed, it's Matt Boldy's just been basically a goal per game guy. So Boldy and Kadri, and a shout out to Blake Coleman in Bangers Leagues. He's been a top 30 fantasy hockey player over the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, we're in lockstep on Kadri, plus 220. And I'm going to go Sharon Govich at 160. Has been a very important player for Calgary. Was scoring and doing things when they were at their lowest and was like kind of keeping them in the fight. I'm not willing that they make the playoffs.
The Flames,
I think they're going to get overtaken by teams below them, but they're certainly better than they were. Kadri, I think, still a pretty good player. And Sharon Govich has been a career year for him. And I think will continue to be. Minnesota side, I'm exactly with you. Matt Boldy at 165. And I'm going to go Eriksson X, a guy that we both like, not like a goal scoring guy, but just he shoots the puck a ton.
He does.
And, and to me, if I'm looking at that lineup, like you said, is pretty banged up. If someone else is going to score, it's going to be Eriksson Ek. He's a really, really good player. And my favorite part is that he does shoot the puck.
Yeah, I was looking at him tonight too. Plus 115 for 4 shots. I know the Flames are kind of stingy at 5-5, but somebody has to shoot. And I mean, Calgary's won 4 of their last 6 games, so they're playing decent lately. But just the ice time, there should be a significant boost for guys like Marcus Johansson, Marco Rossi. There should be a boost tonight in ice time for some of these guys. Joel Eriksson Ek led the Wild in ice time, and he's going to do that probably most games. But he did in that Sunday game against the Jets. He played 20-55. He had 4 shots. He had 8 shots against the Jets in the game before that. So he has had at least 4 shots in 4 of his last 5. If there is a Wild to pick, apart from Boldy, it's probably like those 2 guys should get as much ice time as they can handle tonight, and they should get all the shots in the power play without Kaprizov there as well. Spurgeon's back in the lineup if you're looking for somebody in a deeper league in fantasy hockey formats. I know Faber's been getting a lot of ice time, but Spurgeon I think will offer a little bit more from a fantasy hockey standpoint. All right, let's move on. I am going to pick the Flames tonight. I'll probably put that in the tracker. Shorthanded on the road, don't love it, but decent spot there. Just with the Wild so shorthanded. Edmonton and Philadelphia in here next. The Oilers return home after a little bit of a road trip. I usually fade teams that return home after that road trip. They could be flat, but really like since the coaching change as well, we've just seen this Oilers team play really, really good hockey. Like whatever, they beat Anaheim 7-2, but that was on the second half of a back-to-back where they had just played the Kings in a shootout. But they went on the road. They played 6 games, and they won 5 of them. They beat the Devils 6-3, the Rangers 4-3, the Kings 3-2. This is a team that's been playing much, much better since the coaching change, and we do like the Flyers. I like the Flyers just like anybody else. This team's been playing. Tippett, Konechny, I think these guys are both in play for a point. They're Tippett's plus money, Konechny's minus 130. But I do have a couple plays in the tracker. I got McDavid for a 2-point night. I think that's minus 110. Just like double check here, minus 105 over at DraftKings. And I got Ryan Nugent-Hopkins for an assist, and that is minus 105. So we're getting a little bit of value. Usually you're getting minus 125, minus 130 for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins for an apple, and then usually minus 130, minus 140 for McDavid. So I'm going to take the value. Again, Flyers are playing really good, but I'm just going to go with those top two guys. And I'm a little bit hesitant to roll with Edmonton. I think Flyers will hang around. Maybe it's like a sluggish start back home. Maybe there's an opportunity to jump on Philly. Where are you at?
I mean, Philly's been right in the whole year, right? Which is surprising. Tortorella, I mean, obviously great coach. Love it that he just said, enough of the suits. I'm just going to wear this sweatshirt from now on. I'm just not going to wear a suit
Just do
anymore.
what you want.
Yeah, no big deal. I got Konechny and Morgan Frost. Morgan Frost is plus 360, playing on the second line and playing the wing on the top power play. He just is kind of rolling his power play. Like, it just kind of never ends. Every time you go look at the lineup, it seems like there's a different 6 or a different 5 guys there. But I like Konechny and I like Frost tonight. Edmonton side, usual suspects, McDavid and Draisaitl.
I like Konechny. You're on the goal. I like that. I'm on the point, minus 130. I think that's pretty good value. It's the Oilers goaltending. I know it's been a little bit better lately, but still Edmonton goaltending, returned home after a 6-game road trip. Maybe a little flat here. Flyers been on the road for a bit, playing some pretty good hockey over this road trip. Minus 130 for a point. I also think that tip it for a point at plus money is pretty good as well. That top line in there. I think the Oilers probably squeeze one out. We have Colorado and the Islanders in here next. The Avs are minus 165 at home, and the Isles are plus 150. And we have a goal total of 6.5. The Islanders are just so, like, one day they can score 7, the next day they can give up 7. I think they're punching above their weight a little bit in terms of like their offense. I don't really have a lot of plays here. I think that the Avs will win the game. I was thinking about them in 60. Their goaltending's been a little bit pretty inconsistent. Nichushkin checks boxes for me. Nichushkin was on that first line. He's on that second line, but he's just been playing so much. I think we've hit him a couple times over the past couple of games to have a 2-point night, and it's been around plus 180. I'll probably stay away from that one because Sorokin. I'd say the only plays I have here in this game would be I'll take Brock Nelson even in a tough spot for 3 shots. Maybe a Duran point because he's on that top line, but I'd say Nichushkin tonight for 4 shots and a Nichushkin goal. Just really like the usage from him, and the Islanders are giving up a lot of rubber. What you got?
Yeah, I'm going Nelson and Horvat on the Islanders side. And Sorokin's a great goalie, but I mean, we've said this all year. We said a bit of it last year. This is not your grandfather's Islanders. Right? They're giving up tons of chances, and Sorokin is still a mortal man. And I believe Rantanen scores tonight, and I'm in lockstep with you. I got Nichushkin to score tonight as well.
I would feel better about him if he was on that top line. He's plus 180 for 2 points. I can't get behind it. McKinnon has just been unbelievable at home all year long. This guy's just picking up points every single time they play at home. He's minus 145 for 2 points. He's plus 170 for 2 assists. Can't get behind any of that. It's probably like a 5-shot game for Nate, though. Just given all the rubber that they allow. Maybe a little Duran point. What do we get for Duran? Might not even be able to get him for a point. Minus 115. It's not too bad. I don't like a whole lot from this game. I don't know why. Just not feeling it. Something about the Islanders. It's rubbing me the wrong way. I am buying into Florida here. I don't know if this is a trap. I got the Panthers in 60. I got a little bit of a sprinkle on Florida to win in regulation. And then on the puck line. So let's give you guys some live odds here. Matchup here with Arizona. They're plus 136 at home. And Florida's come down. Wow. They're minus 155 on the money line. I actually don't mind that price at all. I think I saw it last night. They were minus 165, and I was considering that. Let's get some live odds for them to win in 60. And I know we're kind of a Coyote show as well. They're minus 115 now. I think I put in minus 110 in 60 earlier this morning. So what I will say is that the Coyotes are playing really good, right? They're especially of late. They're playing really good. They've won 2 straight. They've won 6 of their last 7 games. 1-0 win against the Sharks, 2-0 against Buffalo, 4-3 Ottawa, 5-2 Sharks. So there's a couple soft opponents over that run. They lost to Colorado 4-1, but then they beat them in the second half of the back-to-back 5-4, and then they shut out the Ducks. So, but they're not allowing a whole lot. We just talked about Connor Ingram earlier, but I like Florida. What we said last week about Florida, man, applies. Alive to win the division, alive to win the conference, 18-1 to win the Stanley Cup. I think all pretty good bets. Inside the betting article I got for Heggie for a point at minus 135, a little bit of juice here, but volume shooter, 18 goals in 36 games. He also has 14 assists, so he's just under a point per game guy. He's got 3 goals and 3 multi-point games over his last 4. He's back up on that top power play, which I like. He jumps around from line 2 to line 1. But over the past 2 years, he really hasn't been on that first power play. He's on that first power play. The Coyotes have a bottom 10 penalty kill. So I'm going to jump on Verhaeghe. I'm always jumping on Verhaeghe. I like him to score, but I'm going to take the point at minus 135. I got same game parlays with Barkov and Reinhart for a point at plus money. Tkachuk and Verhaeghe at plus money. I like Bennett for 3 shots, and I like Reinhart for 3 shots. What you got?
I got Reinhart to score 155 and Matthew Tkachuk at 185. On the Arizona side, it's got to be Keller, 185, which seems wild. I mean, he's one of the best players in the NHL, still getting 185. And Celly he's at plus 350, playing some important minutes for him. Look, he's not the sniper that Carsoni or Carconi is. This rip puck can $4 game, and but Celly is playing on that top power play. And I was reading a thing, I think it was on the Athletic, saying that the coach there was telling him that, I mean, obviously this has been a setup for this guy, very, very good at passing the puck, but we saw this with Robert Thomas as well this year. They're asking him to shoot more, and he's been doing it. So I like him at plus 350 to score.
What do we think about Alex Kerfoot? Like, he's got points in 5 of his last 6. He's got 3, 5, 6, 7 points over that span, a couple goals. He's getting an opportunity that he's just never had before. I mean, 17, 29 per game.
And I always thought he was a good player. He's a really good skater.
He's on the top line with Keller and Schmaltz.
I mean, there's worse players to play with. I know that for sure.
He's got 22 points in 35 games. Like, he's only got 4 goals. The outlier season is his 3rd with the Leafs. He had 51 points. He had started off his career with 40 points in his first 2 seasons with Colorado. But the biggest thing to me is he's playing 17.29 per game. Like, last year he played 14 minutes per game. So he's getting 3 more minutes per game. I don't even know. Did he get power play time in Toronto's second unit? Maybe at times. He's on the first unit here. I don't have the numbers handy, but I can tell you firsthand that this guy, I'm going to take a quick peek. Let me take a quick peek for the people. Kerfoot. I think the biggest thing for me, I just want to look at the power play time here for him, because I would say it's a significant jump. So last year on the power play, he averaged 40 seconds per game. 2 years ago, he averaged 7 seconds per game. He's averaging 151 per game on the power play. So that's a significant boost. He's fallen into points because of your boy Keller. I agree with you. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the NHL. So we got a guy in Kerfoot here who is plus 130 for a point. The matchup's not great. Like, I like Florida. Bobrovsky's playing pretty good. But this guy's playing 20 minutes every night. Like, you go back from November 30th, this guy has played at least 19 minutes in what looks like 12 to 15 straight games. And he's on a bit of a heater. So he's plus 130 for a point. He's plus 225 for an assist. He's minus 130 for 2 shots, which is something he's done in 3 of his last 4 as well. So Kerfoot, I never thought I'd be in on Kerfoot, but I had him in the fantasy hockey article. I streamed him a couple times last week, playing in DFS. Yeah, man. But I like Florida. I like Florida winning 60. It feels like kind of like a trap because of the numbers, the odds, but I'm in. All right, 3 more games here. Ottawa and we have Ottawa and Vancouver, Toronto and LA, and Detroit and San Jose. So let's go Ottawa and Vancouver here. We have the Sens at minus 164. Wow, a lot of money coming in, I think, on the Sens lately. Minus 145, the live odds here for Ottawa, for Vancouver. Best price I'm seeing over at Caesars, and Ottawa checking in at plus 128. I like the over. It's a touch juiced at minus 124. The Sens just typically play to these overs, I think. I just feel like they just don't really get the goaltending. They can score.
Yep.
I think we'll see some offense in this game. So I'll let you take it away. I'm sure you got some goal scorers. This should be a fun game. I think from a DFS standpoint, there's a lot of different ways that you can go with some point props, some goal scorers. Go ahead. I like at least 7 goals in this game tonight.
Yeah, I think there was some goal scoring here as well. Vancouver, I'm not betting against them at home. I like Ottawa, and I think they should be better than they are, but they just can't seem to get any goaltending this year at all. So I'm going Tkachuk, Brady Tkachuk, and Tim Stützle. Stützle's at plus 250. This is a great player.
Yeah, he needs to get going.
Statistically here, but he needs to get going. Him at 250, yes, please. Vancouver, I'm going Besser. Everyone knows my thoughts on that. He's the shooter. 145, and I'm going to go back to JT Miller at plus 195 as well.
Nice. I got Batherson for a point at minus 130. Man, the Ottawa Senators, I have to double check their lines 4 or 5 times a day. They just keep messing them around. Batherson's with Stützle and Tarasenko. I think that line is sneaky. Batherson minus 130 for a point, and then Josh Norris with Tkachuk and Claude Giroux. I think Claude Giroux is really their most consistent guy. Like whatever line he is on kind of gets everybody else going. He's been pretty solid for them since he was acquired from Ottawa. Josh Norris is minus 110 for a point. So going to take Norris in the first line for a point, Batherson on the second line for a point. Pretty good prices. I would say for me, I'm with you on Stützle. Let's see if we can get a Stützle goal here tonight. And I mean, Brock Besser just keeps filling the net. JT Miller, I wonder what the price for Miller is for an assist. Sometimes it's great, other times it's really juiced. Minus 130 is not too bad for a JT Miller assist for a goal total that's flirting with 7 now. So I think we can get all that. Hopefully, let's get all that. You like Vancouver at home? I was thinking about Sens.
I do.
Upset, but I can't back the Sens. They're just a crappy goaltending.
Not against Vancouver.
No, they can't keep the puck in their net. Toronto and LA, Samsonov waivers. My goodness, this guy is just talk about night and day. I feel like a loser for even suggesting to draft this guy in fantasy hockey. I had a couple shares of him. I just like, wow, he's going as goalie 10, 12, 13 off the board. He was a top 10 goalie last year. He'll be fine.
It's a great call. They're the Maple Leafs. They're going to win a ton of games, right? Defensively, they're way better than they were a couple years ago. And it was a really good bet. And it's got nothing to do with him being a bad goalie. It's just his head. And this is what happens. They get rattled and they get, they lose and just can't get it back. I mean, he's being outplayed by Martin Jones. It'd be tough to keep your confidence if something like that happened to you too. It's a wild world we're living in.
Yeah, he needs to join Jay Campbell, I guess, in the AHL and get some confidence back up. Kings are minus 130 tonight on home ice. The Leafs are plus 115. It may seem like it's a lock, with the Leafs playing bad and not getting the goaltending, but they just typically play up to their opponents and play down. That's what I see from them. But they are spiraling right now. They've lost 3 straight, and they've lost 5 of their last 6. And just the goals allowed, man, like 5, 9, 4, 6. Lost to Carolina. There's a 3-2 loss, but they scored a couple goals late to kind of get back into that. I think it's going to take the Kings on home ice. A fun little Martin Jones revenge game against his former squad, but LA's good. They're sound at 5-5. They've had better goaltending. It should be a fun game, but I'm going to lean with the Kings here. Do you think the Leafs? I mean, Leafs, you don't get the Leafs plus money too often.
Yeah, that would make me tempted to go with them. I don't think I would. I'm not going to bet on this game because I don't like to bet against the Toronto Maple Leafs because I like the Toronto Maple Leafs and I want them to win, but I don't know if I can bet on them to win against the Los Angeles Kings. It's the world we're living in, guys. Matthews and Nylander on the Toronto side to score. And I'm going back to Kempe and Fiala. We bet on Fiala to score last week. He finally got one to go. And again, I've said this will be the 3rd time on the show. When guys like this, once they get one to go, they usually come in bunches. So I would not be surprised if Kevin Fiala scores again tonight, and he's 230.
Yeah, that's a pretty good call, right? I mean, it's a pretty good call considering the goaltending issues in Toronto as well. And their 5-5 structure, I don't want to put everything on Samsonov. I mean, he should have been much better against Columbus. I mean, what do you have? 4 or 5 goals on 10 shots. But the past couple of weeks, they have given up a lot of high danger chances. They're actually among the leaders in shot attempts and high danger chances at a 5-5 over the past few weeks. But Quentin Byfield, I'm going to go to him -110 for a point. It's I've just been kind of avoiding these shot props and just taking guys that are playing on top lines at good prices. And if you follow the trend here on the show, this is one of them. And Quentin Byfield at -110 because I like Kempe. I mean, Kempe is he's starting to shoot again. There was a little bit of a I don't know, quiet period, I think, in his game where he wasn't shooting the puck, but he's got goals. He's got 3 goals over the last 3 games, got points in 4 straight, and the shots 5, 4, 4, 1, and 4. So he's back to pulling the trigger. One more game here, and it is San Jose and Detroit. We have the Sharks checking in at home, and I think their stretch of good hockey is kind of over. But Detroit is a mixed bag, man. They can't keep the puck out of their net either. +158 for San Jose at home, and Detroit -182. I have a hard time jumping on that -182. I think I may do a little bit of a in 60 or puck line half a unit on them just because it is the Sharks. But man, this Red Wings team, they play to a lot of overs. There's like all of their games. I feel like there's just a lot of goals scored. Look at the last few: 8, 9, 9, 5, 13, 7, and 7. Their last couple goals. Like they're scoring. They can't stop. They can't stop any. Reimer's in net now. Another fun little revenge Reimer back. He played in San Jose for a minute. DeBrincat and Kane been pretty good. Like I think those guys will hit the score sheet a couple times tonight. Kane looks great.
Yeah. Kane looks really good. Had that underlined saying, like, I wanted to talk about that. It's cool to see. Like, we saw Backstrom come back this year from the same surgery and just was not good. And it's the NHL is a better place when Patrick Kane is in it. It's, again, like I've said this a million times, he's so good with the puck and like he backs everybody off because he's so smart and just so good at handling the puck and keeping it away from people. He's tiny. Like it makes no sense. Physically, the fact that he doesn't get murdered is impressive. It's just impressive. He's just a tiny, tiny, tiny person. But yeah, Detroit, I got DeBrincat at 145. He looks awesome. And I'm going to go Larkin as well. San Jose side, it's always going to be Thomas Hertl. He's their best player. He's at +185. And I'm going Zenderland too. He's been good. Him and Eklund have been pretty good. Obviously, they need these guys to be better and gain experience. And Jose moving in the right direction, right? They're doing everything right now. And it's cool to see. I like a lot of the players there. I like Barabanov. I like Zetterlund. I like Eklund. We love Anthony Duclair. I think he probably gets dealt before the deadline. But I think Detroit wins this game. And I think it's not saying a whole lot because San Jose is not good. Like you said, their streak of good play. I think they will have good games, but I don't think you will see another streak like that for this team. They're not good. They're just not good. And that's how I think this happens. I think Detroit wins it tonight, and I think we see some goals here.
Yeah, just because what we just said, right? I mean, they're allowing a whole lot. They're playing to the over. I know it's San Jose, but they can't keep the puck out of their net. I like Kane at DeBrincat for a point at 365 at +120. It may be an opportunity to jump on some guys that we normally wouldn't jump on, like a Hertl, like a Mikhail Granlund. How about like maybe a David Perron? David Perron on that top line with Larkin and Lucas Freeman. David Perron is +124 for a point. I got to jump on this, I think. Some late night action after we hit a couple bets, 13 games on the ice. Watch some late night hockey, Detroit and San Jose. You're going to be up watching Kings and Leafs. You don't want to bet on it. You hop on over and little Perron action, +120. I don't think I've bet Perron since last year. +124 for a point. He's -140 for 2 shots. I think that's okay as well. He really has not been shooting the puck, but it's the matchup, right? It's the matchup that we like. A couple games against the Bruins and the Devils. I'll take the point. Maybe I won't take the shots. I'll take the point. Plus 125 for a point. And what's Granlund as we get out of here? Because he's been, he's the quarterback in that first power play. He's minus 130 for a point. I think that's pretty rock solid as well. These two teams did play each other not that long ago, and they combined for 11 goals. I don't know if you I was watching the broadcast, and it was Detroit was up, I think 4-0 or 4-1, and the color commentator guy, I forget his name, but he's been doing Detroit games for years. He's just like, this lead may seem safe, but it's not. If you've watched Detroit this year, this is not a comfortable lead. And it was like 4-0. And he was right. San Jose came all the way back, and they won that game. I'm looking at the box score now. Detroit started off the game up 4-0, and San Jose quickly turned things around. From the last 5 minutes of the second period, they scored 4 goals to tie it up. Then they tied it up with 1.5 minutes left again, and then they won in overtime. Granlund. So it's just really how it's gone all year for Detroit. They're scoring some goals, they're hanging around, but they can't keep the puck in the net. Oh, one more guy, JT Compher. Minus 130 for a point. He's centering
DeBrincat and Kane, right? Yeah. I mean,
so maybe
anybody that's going to play there. Yeah. Yes, please.
Compher's probably a much better call than David Perron. Minus 130. Since I like Kane and DeBrincat with both two, maybe JT Compher gets in on the fun. All right, a lot of games, a lot of action. We rolled through a lot of it. You take it away. You got some goal scorers over there, and then I'll round out with some points.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Pasternak, Marchand, Marashenko, Fantilli, Aho, Svechnikov, Panarin, Kreider, Ovi, Mantha, Crosby, Malkin, Caulfield, Monahan, Robertson, Duchesne, Kucherov, Point, Ehlers, Iafallo, Kadri, Sharangovich, Boldy, Eck, Bedard, Gutman, Forsberg, Novak, Reinhart, Kachuk, Keller, Maselli, Nelson, Horvat, Rantanen, Nikishkin, Konechny, Frost, McDavid, Draisaitl, Brady Kachuk, Stützle, Besser, Miller, Matthews, Nylander, Kempe, Fialo, DeBrincat, Larkin, Hurdle, Zetterlund. The 8-way Maniac Parlay goes as follows. Pasternak, Svechnikov, Crosby, Robertson, Forsberg, Reinhart, Rantanen, Matthews. Matthews is my guarantee lock to score tonight.
Man, that guy, hey, he's past the pace that Ovechkin was on after 300 some odd hockey games. So now in 5 years, you and I will be talking about if he's going to break Wayne Gretzky's goal record. Yeah, his release is.
And it's not talked about enough how good he is defensively and stripping pucks and back checking and positionally.
He's a 200-foot player.
He's an unbelievable player, and people are going to get upset, but it's how I see it. Like, I'm a Leafs fan, but the truth is I'm an NHL fan first.
Yeah.
Austin Matthews is Patrice Bergeron on steroids.
That's fair. I really hope that we see some sort of best on best. I know Bettman talked about it yesterday again in the Winter Classic game between the Kraken and the Kraken are playing great hockey, by the way. The Kraken and the Golden Knights. He talked about, instead of doing an in-season NBA tournament like they just had in the association, have some sort of like World Cup of hockey. I saw that in Toronto. I saw Matthews and McDavid on the ice together as kids on the same team, and it was just awesome to see. And their game has evolved so like that was 8 years. I feel like that was like 8 years ago now. Team USA absolutely loaded, with the Kachuk brothers and Matthews and Hughes and Connor. Oh my goodness. And then seeing Crosby and McDavid together to play hockey together. I think I would give the edge to the States. I mean, their goaltending, they got like Ottinger and Hellebuck. They're pretty sound between the pipes. Canada without Price, they got some question marks in there. I like Carter Hart, but real tough. Anyways, Yeah, Matthews is legit. Okay, so for me, let's go to sides here first. There's just a couple I have in. I have Dallas on the puck line tonight, around -110. I also have Florida to win. I think the -155 is fine. I put in earlier -110 for them to win in 60. Maybe just take a little bit of that juice. Maybe you take Florida on the money line and a little bit of a sprinkle to win in 60, or on the puck line. You can get that at +150 for the Florida Panthers. +150. I really like where that's at. I like the over between Ottawa and Vancouver. I do like Calgary. I do like Calgary to go into Minnesota and win a hockey game. And then I am on the Kings. The Leafs will probably burn me. I picked them to beat bad teams and they lose. Pick them to beat lose to good teams and they win. But I think there's some big time issues going on in Toronto at the moment. For points, or for props rather, let's see. I'll just limit to my favorite few here. I like Coyle and DeBrusk for a point each. I like Ricard Raquel for a point. I like Nyquist for a point. I'm really all in on that Hintz and Duchesne. Hintz and both of these guys, some same game parlays for Hintz, Robertson, and Pavelski. I drink a little bit of the juice for a Hintz point, a Pavelski assist, Duchesne point, Sagan point. That second line has been really good. I got Kadri for a point. I got Svechnikov for a point. I have McDavid for 2 points, Konechny for a point, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins for an assist. I got Carter Verhaeghe for a point. I got Kerfoot for a point, Batherson and Norris for a point, Byfield for a point, and JT Compher for a point. So I'll just really kind of gearing away from shot props, so just a little bit too juice. There are a couple that I like Svechnikov for 3, Raquel for 3, DeBrusk for 3, Velarde for 3, Hintz for 3, Reinhardt for 3, Brock Nelson for 3, and then I'd say you can do something with you could put DeBrincat in a parlay with somebody else that's juiced. He's -180, I think I saw, but the Sharks do give up a lot of rubber. For goal scorers, major issues in Toronto. Evan's got a parlay pick here for us. Some of his favorite plays. He's got Dallas puck line, LA money line, Florida in 60, Canucks in 60. Some of the favorite plays tonight. Of course, there's a problem in Toronto. They lost the season series to Columbus. Yeah, big time. My goal scorers from the article, again, it's free, but I'll rattle it off here. I got Hintz, Verhaeghe, Pasternak, Draisaitl, Forsberg, McKinnon, Drake Batherson, Brock Besser, Adrian Kempe, Alex DeBrincat, Ricard Raquel, Nazem Kadri, and then my long shot goal scorer of the night would be Anthony Cirelli. I also like him for a point at plus money. For your prize picks users, underdog users, McDavid for 2 points, Verhaeghe point, Nugent-Hopkins for an assist, Hintz 3 shots, Coyle, Raquel, Sagan, DeBrusk, Velarde, Kadri, Byfield, all for a point, and Velarde for 3 shots. Big show. A lot of games. We're out of here. Good luck at the Eric Young, at Chris Meaney. Hit us up if you have any fantasy hockey questions. Appreciate you guys rating, reviewing, and subscribing for us. Smash that like button. Do us a solid. Good luck tonight with all your plays. And we'll be back on Thursday. Have a good one. Cheers.